We all lie to ourselves. It's a fact of human nature. And a lot of the times the things that we lie to ourselves about are the things that we desperately want or the things that we feel ashamed about. What if you're lying to yourself about how self-disciplined you actually are? And what if that's actually keeping you from becoming more self-disciplined?
Why does self-discipline matter in your life? At the end of the day, if you're telling yourself, I got to go to work or I got to go to the gym and you're not following through, that's showing up likely in every other area of your life. Let's talk about self-discipline and how you can improve it in this episode.
Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
Welcome back, Evolvers. It's Emilia for episode 520 freaking 6. How self-disciplined are you really? Question mark. This episode, I think, is actually quite paradoxical because in real time, Bianca Thomas, I'm not going to blast this, but I'm going to blast it. Your girl was struggling earlier today, called out sick, and still is here doing the damn thing of showing up for you Evolve listeners, despite the fact that she doesn't feel super hot in every aspect of the way. And I think that that's a great example to kind of get us started. What is self-discipline? What do you think it is? What is it really? Is it just showing up? Is it showing up when you don't want to? What is it not? That's the conversation that we're going to have today, because Bianca and I, we have a huge muscle that we have developed over time. And we've found through working with this Evolve community that we all have a little bit of flex that we can do. But the truth of the matter is far more Evolvers, far more people just like you need to cultivate self-discipline, because where you're not is where likely you are struggling desperately.
Thank you for that. Emilia was talking about me, by the way. The way you kind of said it wasn't clear who you were talking about. So Thank you. No, it's all good. Thank you. So let me explain why. Let me explain why I'm here and give a little context.
Please.
So I woke up this morning. Thank goodness, knock on wood, whatever, I don't get sick often. I'm very, very healthy. I'm so unbelievably grateful. I take really good care of my body. And I rarely ever get sick. I get sick once, maybe twice a year, if that.
Wild.
And this morning, I don't know what the hell happened, but I woke up and I explained it like this to Emilia. I said, remember back in the day when you used to get blasted, when you used to get drunk, and you wake up in the middle of the night still drunk and you're kind of delirious and you don't know where you are, you don't know what's going on, but you're kind of starting to get sober and you're trying to make your way to the bathroom and you're all over the place. Yeah, that's how I felt this morning, and I was sober. I haven't drank alcohol. I don't even know when the last time I drank alcohol was. It's been years at this point. So no, I am not drunk, or I was not. But
just for the record.
just for the record, I do not drink alcohol. But that's how I felt this morning waking up. I felt delirious. I was dissociating. I just did not feel well. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, can I get up and do this today? I feel drunk. And it was honestly, you're not going to be able to be there for your clients. You're not going to be able to be there for yourself. And you're going to make today worse, because I have another job that I do for now. So I called out. And I felt so guilty, but I went back to bed. I woke up a few hours later. I definitely felt better. And it was okay, let me move on with the rest of my day. What are the absolute priorities that I have to make sure that I hit? And what I've come to, where I'm at in my life and what I've come to understand is there are certain priorities in my life that are absolute non-negotiables that I will not pass up on, that I will not push off, that I will not compromise unless it is absolutely dire. And things involving evolve are in that bucket. So if I had woken up like that and I had meetings for evolve that I needed to do, I actually probably would have gotten up and showed up for it, because evolve is higher on the priorities list for me than this other job, right? Now, I definitely would have messaged you and been like, hey, bear with me, please. But I wouldn't have canceled it, because that is a higher priority list for me. So when we are trying to become self-disciplined, I think where people need to start, and where I really started, and the reason I'm able to be here right now, and the reason I am here right now, is because I'm very clear on where I need to allocate that self-discipline. I want to eventually be a person that is self-disciplined in every aspect of my life, no matter what. And I'm on my way toward that. But I didn't start there. And nobody starts there. So trying to be self-disciplined in every single arena, all day, every moment of the day, is unhelpful, because you're not actually going to be able to do that. Just like I was not able to do that. But what you do is you choose the areas that deeply matter to you. And then you put your energy and attention there. So another example, fitness for me, non-negotiable. So I have a streak going right now. I modeled this off of Emilia and Alan. So thank you guys. You guys took the charge on this. Emilia has been consistent in exercise. I don't even know how many days it is at this point. It's in the thousands. And I modeled off of her, and I said, okay, I want to do the same thing. I want to exercise every day for the rest of my life, at least 30 minutes. And that can include walking, that can include an intense exercise. I don't include yoga and stuff like that, because that just isn't exercise to me, that's pliability. So I have my categories. I'm 137 days in a row as of today. I have not missed. I started the run a mile every day challenge with Alan. I think he's gonna surpass 100 days soon. I know Brandon Lowe on the NLU team is over 1,000 days, and I'm in the 30s. I don't know the exact number. I'd have to pull it up. But those are non-negotiables for me, because I said I was gonna do it. I publicly said I was gonna do it. And me on my own accord, it matters so much to me to do the things that I say I'm going to do. So I won't say I'm going to do something unless I'm certain I'm going to. And then even if nobody knows it, I'm now the kind of person that I will do it, and I will do it for me. That is self-discipline, to the point where it was 1 a.m. the other night, and I was like, shit, I have to get my mile in still. And I did. So self-discipline, we all have our arenas where we need to be self-disciplined. We all have our own values and beliefs and ideas about what's important to us. And we all have to start at our own starting point.
Starting point. Where you go from there and how you continue to go. That is self-discipline in a nutshell, because it's wherever you are right now, right? Like, this is a skill that can be developed and exercised and practiced. It's a muscle, quite frankly, but it's how you keep going. And in the face of struggle, adversity, and barriers, how you approach those to ensure you keep going. That is self-discipline. So whatever definition you want to have with it, it's the fact of the matter that what is consistent is the fact that you keep going. And the inspiration for this episode came from one of the clients that I have, who he and I were having a conversation, Bianca, about just discipline. And it started to like shift there, because we were talking about cognitive dissonance. aka what you
Ooh.
think to yourself, or where your blind spots are, where there's errors in your thinking, where as a leader are those errors in your thinking, blind spots, and what you are the stories that you're telling yourself versus the reality. So it was this big conversation that we had around that. And ultimately, he's a business owner with multiple team members. And one of the reasons that we got talking about that was because if he is someone that is telling himself that he is self-disciplined, but his behavior is showing a different story, which it was, in certain areas, then obviously as a leader, that's going to ripple out to your staff. And if you're asking staff to do something that your behaviors aren't, that they're going to have a hard time following you or modeling after you, or in the opposite area, they might show up, but they might not be pulling themselves to consistently show up in the way in which you are. And so that project, expect, and resent cycle kind of pops off. And so we were having this dialogue about essentially that. And I had asked him, like, how many days have you really like shown up to work? Because he was like, I asked him, I was like, so do you think that you have self-discipline? Bianca, this man has been showing up to work on his own accord with no one holding his feet to the fire, aside from him, because he's an entrepreneur, every single day, including Sundays at many times. So almost 7, if not 7 days a week to his place of work, location, for over 10 years. And I go, so do you think that you have self-discipline? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, and he got kind of protected. He was like, yeah, duh. Like, obviously, I mean, I've shown up here for the last 10 years. I mean, none of this would be here if I didn't have self-discipline. I'm like, absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. So I go, do you think that this is something that you have in flying colors, or do you think, you're kind of on the lower end? And he was like, well, I think just showing up, that's what self-discipline is. And it was something along the other of, since I've been here and all this is built, then of course I have self-discipline, AKA I can just apply this to any area of my life. And that was a story that he was telling to himself. Now, mind you, this man has not gone to the gym or exercised despite the fact that we have talked about how important it is, how he wants to go, how he is excited to, how he was a great athlete, blah, 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 on and on and on, droning on and on. Right. We've all been there. All right. So don't judge this guy. And I go, so you're telling me for the last 10 years, you've been able to show up here to this location, but in the last 3 months since we've been talking about the gym, you haven't been able to get yourself to the gym once. I was like, no. I'm like, okay. All right.
How much was he shifting in his seat at that point? Like the discomfort.
Squirming. So, and I could see his protector starting to get like really pissed off at me. Like, Emilia, why the hell did you walk me into this? This is a trap. This is an absolute trap. And I'm like,
entrapment.
Okay. So here's the thing. You are self-disciplined, like absolutely. But I do wonder like how much of that was yourself showing up and how much was it that you were showing up to make sure that you deliver to customers every single day and that you don't fall on your face in front of customers every single day, right? You have a store, you open a store and you're not there. That's social risk. And I think that that's really what the driver is outside of survival, basic survival. You need income, right? He's like, fair. And in that moment, he just like everything shifted inside of him where he literally had that realization that all of us have where we have this story that we've beautifully architected into our identity, where there's evidence that supports the story that we have to ourselves, which for her or for him, it was, I am an extremely self-disciplined person, even though I have never really defined what self-discipline is. I just equivocate me showing up every single day for the last 10 years of my business to myself. I don't give that credit to the customers that show up, knock at my door, and the social risk that is so uncomfortable for me to handle to self-discipline or to discipline. And so we had this dialogue and essentially it was just something that I consistently see this pattern on where we, to some degree, and I was sharing this with you before we got into this podcast, either we swing and we think we're the most disciplined person ever and we compare our level of application in the world, whatever it is, be it the gym, be it our work, be it the prioritization, we compare to this unrealistic, unrelenting standard of someone else, right? Someone else who has 1,500 days consistent in exercise to our 30. And we never feel like our self-discipline is really ever going to measure up or enough in comparison to that person. Or we totally swing to the other end. And like this individual, we never actually ground what we believe, the story that we're telling ourselves about self-discipline and our ability to actually perform on the spot when we don't want to, especially in the face of adversity, stress, and barriers. And we never actually have it grounded in any active comparison set. And so this man on this end, having just totally had this 31-year-old tell him for the last 10 years, he's actually shown up every single day and built what he has out of survival and social risk. So this man's total world is shifting right there in front of me. And yet he still shows up. He still shows up to these calls, to these conversations. And why? He goes, Emilia, like you're actually helping me see where I'm lying to myself. And what that does is help me actually go to work on where I have been telling myself a story as opposed to actually developing a skill. And I was like, all right, we got to do an episode about this, Bianca, because you and I know exactly what that's like. We've been there before in certain ways. Our starting point was not where it is now. And anyone listening to this episode has 100% been on either end or somewhere in that spectrum of overly comparing to someone who is highly and ridiculously self-disciplined, or on the complete opposite end of this narrative, which is telling themselves a story that I'm so self-disciplined, but yet can't get themselves to the gym for more than 2 days in a row, right? Like, and again, not shaming, not judging. This is just a challenge that we have as human beings, right? So how disciplined are you really? This is the conversation as evolvers, we need to constantly be asking ourselves, because of the fact that where we are struggling or where we're dissatisfied with life or where we are so angry or full of shame or upset with ourselves is likely repetitions of self-discipline away from what story you're telling yourself. In other words, if you're not doing or where you want to be in life, some way or another, self-discipline is a part of the conversation. It's an exercise, it's a practice, it's a muscle in the brain, multiple different aspects of the brain. Shout out to the ACC and anterior cingulate cortex, the striatum, and the amygdala, which are the three primary components that are responsible communicating with one another in order for us to do the damn thing that we don't want to do, especially when it's hard, especially when we're overwhelmed, tired, stressful, resentful, etc. And we all can do a little bit with our brain health to support what needs to be there for us to actually exercise. So Bianca, now that you're in your 30s, let's say, of the discipline journey, going from no running to running even at 1 o'clock at night, to doing things that you really don't want to do consistently, repeatably, and are quite literally in the flesh right now doing self-discipline. What was the first lie that, if you're willing to share, either you realized that you were telling yourself that was making it really difficult to actually actualize your potential when it comes to the self-discipline, or that you've seen with clients? Because that was the biggest lie. He told himself that he was self-disciplined because it was him that pulled him to show up, as opposed to it's actually the fear of survival, the fear of social rejection that you can attribute this discipline to. And that's a big lie that I see a lot of people telling themselves. So whether you want to share your personal story or something that you've noticed in other clients for our evolvers to help them at least debunk what might be something that is in their way currently.
When you're on a journey of self-discovery or self-rediscovery, it's very important to have a support system in place. And that's where a group like Evolve comes in, with their acceptance and advice and different people from different walks of life who can offer different perspectives for you to help you find your self-worth and aid in your journey of wellness. It's important and essential.
For a really long time, I had a dual process going where I believed I was self-disciplined because I did have some evidence to prove it. Like I was going to the gym starting at the age of 15. Like I was really young when I started going, and I would go relatively consistently. But I also had this dual belief that I'm not consistent at all. I'm not self-disciplined at all. And these two beliefs would ping pong back and forth against each other. I meet you, I meet Alan, I meet Kevin, and the belief started to solidify that no, I am self-disciplined. And it's because of me, because I'm starting to become that. Not realizing that I actually only was self-disciplined because I had people who were so much further ahead of me that they were holding me more accountable than I was holding myself accountable.
Okay. Yep.
Now
so
I'm
the
in the
extrinsic
place.
self-discipline. Yep.
Yes. Now I'm in the place where I think that's inverted a little bit. I do still really appreciate the self-accountability. And if you and Alan were not in my life anymore, I do think there would be a part of me that would still continue trying to prove it to myself. And that's a weird place to be in, because I think I now want to believe that it's because of other people. And now I'm starting to get to the point where I actually am starting to be self-disciplined just for me. Like obviously, yes,
That's so weird.
having the evolve community there and being a leader here in this community is it's a massive subfacet of it.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's not like 90-10. It's like 70-30, where 70% of it now is for me. And 30, which is a really pretty big foundation, is I'm a leader in this community. I need to be the first one to do it. I want to be the first one to do it. I have all of these people who rely on me to do things and to step up. But I mean, I'm at a place now where I don't want to share things. And I don't think I never thought that I would get to that point where I have to force myself to share things now, because I really just don't want to. I want to keep it for me. Like, I didn't share that 1 a.m. run anywhere. Nobody knew unless I would have just said it. But I know. I see my streaker every day. I know. Nobody would have known aside from you if I had canceled this today. But
Right.
I would have. Or if I asked you if we could reschedule it. But like, I would have. And that's a really weird place to be. And I don't know what to do with it, but that has been my journey. So going from I completely don't believe I'm self-disciplined at all to now the complete other end where I am the most self-disciplined I've ever been, kind of regardless of who's around.
That's wild. I love the fact that there's the journey, right? And that's something that is, as an evolver, you go through your own journey at all times, and you're in this space where it's like, I don't know what to do about it. Like, I've evolved, and that's the messy middle of your journey right now. And I feel that on so many levels. Like, the amount of times that I have been in the aftermath because I'm just like so focused on the next thing and helping and what we do here at Evolve. I'm like, like I had this moment of something. I can't even remember it now because it's like, it's such a pinch. It's like, oh shit, I should have shared that. That really would have helped someone or inspired someone or really helped motivate someone else that really needs it. Like, I'm like, Emilia, you've missed that opportunity again, right? But it's like, then there's a part that's like, but I didn't do it for them. I did it for me and I don't want to share. It's like, so you want to help people, but you want it to be on your terms. It's just so fascinating. So I see you deeply. And it's also, you know, I think that this conversation has also been inspired by a lot of dialogues that I've had with people, Bianca, recently, especially because as I consistently am privileged to work with individuals who have a lot of different neurodivergencies, and as they step into the evolved community and feel really safe and psychologically safe to work with us and to be a part of the evolved community and kind of put their hands up of like, wait a second, like I'm actually being held back because of the narratives and the stories and the either end of the spectrum. And I don't want to be held back by that anymore. I instead want to learn how my brain works, how it has functioned for the last 30, 40, 50 years. And I actually want to work with it and unlearn all the narratives, the distortions, the stories that I've been telling myself, not so that I can just be this self-disciplined person and goddess from above, but I like actually want to be able to have that level of self-leadership, right? The like feeling that comes when you can lead yourself effectively, like that's huge, whether that be the intrinsic self-discipline that you and I are talking about now, or whether that be more extrinsic, knowing the fact that like you work better body doubling and going to the gym with a friend. Like there's such this rub with so many different evolvers that it's like, this is how I was. These are the stories that I'm telling myself, and I'm not where I am. As opposed to shifting that narrative and recognizing the actual paradox in this whole episode, which is it's not like a yes or no. It's not an all or nothing. Self-discipline. Number one, there's multiple types of self-discipline. And if you're neurodivergent, you've had to learn this because it's not just the intrinsic values and motivators, which we talk about in group coaching. And that's actually a really, really critical aspect in the program where we go deeper into intrinsic motivations and how self-discipline shows up on that, as opposed to extrinsic self-discipline and or self-imposed self-discipline and like all those different interplays and factors that it's less like a all or nothing in spectrum and it's more like 2D, 4D, 3D, where whatever works with your brain is important to understand your code. And it's not like you're unable to access that. I think the question that I want to leave our evolvers with, for anyone that's really kind of put their hand up through this episode and said, yeah, like I've struggled with that too. Yeah, I'm on my own journey. I've been there, XYZ. The key here is, and the question is, how can I leverage how my brain has worked? How can I identify the stories that I've been unintentionally telling myself? And how can I overcome the current barriers that are in this stage of my journey as an evolver to really ignite what is uniquely mine to ignite, right? The level of self-discipline that I want to have in this chapter. Because the truth of the matter, no matter where you are in your evolved journey, Bianca, just like, you know, you mentioned, your journey and your chapters are going to require a different level of motivation, a different level of self-discipline. And wouldn't you rather have the skills and have the choice not to apply them or not need them than have the situation that requires them and needs them and you not have developed that? So how would you leave our listeners for those who are realizing through this episode, it's not an all or nothing. It's not a either you have it or you don't, and are realizing there's a bigger dynamic at play, but it's not so big that you can't take one small action from your current position, the starting point that we referred to.
I think people believe that in order to develop self-discipline that you have to do it with things that you hate. Meaning self-discipline is just pure suffering, pure discomfort. I have to do things that I don't want to do, and it is going to be miserable. That I believe keeps so many people from actually getting started.
Yeah.
The evolved challenges that we've been doing in the Out of the Mud group, I think are a really good example. Everybody who is participating is starting to learn how self-disciplined they actually are with even enjoyable tasks. We've done a fitness challenge, we did a meditation challenge, we did a journaling challenge, we're doing a no devices challenge right now. These aren't unbearable tasks. It's not like, I'm going to suffer and I need to make this the most horrific thing. Like, shut the fuck up. And all the people you see posting that bullshit on social media are not disciplined. They're ego. Some of them actually are. Some of them actually are. But number one, not the majority. And number two, you are not starting where they currently are. They're years and years and years and years into their journey.
Yeah.
So self-discipline starts with where you are. And I'm listening to this book right now. It is an extensive book. I don't recommend anybody listen to this, but I think it's fascinating. It's called The Behavioral Ops Manual. Emilia, I know you've read it. And he has this chapter on self-discipline. And he said, self-discipline is not this really painful, burdensome task. It's being the butler of your own life. And what he meant by that is, think of the task of a butler. It's to make your life easier. It's to make your life better. It's so that future you can look back on present you, or future you can look back on past you and say, thank you so much for doing that for me because now I am better. And you've been saying this for years.
I'm giggling so hard at that because not only do we have often like, thank you, past Emilia, thank you, future Emilia. Like that happens actually
All
so
the time.
regularly in our conversations.
All the time.
But also I'm giggling because I literally wanted to shout out a client, an evolved client today, and I shared this with her. I talked to her about the concept of being a butler to your future self or a gardener to your future self. Like you want to pick that apple off the tree and shove it in your face and just get the juiciest, yummiest apple, but you can't do that if you don't plant the seeds and water the seeds today. And we were talking about, money and finance and everything. She finally got herself to, we got her. I can't just say she did, but she did the invitation to what you were saying, right? Like she was a butler to her future self, and she put her credit cards with the interest rates and the total balances on a spreadsheet. And it's like, let's go. Those little things to what you were just saying. It doesn't have to be this aggressive and just total unnecessary. Like I told her, like, girl, put on the music, bump the beats, have a blast, like do it in the small things that matter. It doesn't always have to be obnoxious. So that's why I was giggling. Please finish.
So the way that he framed it was, we all make decisions every single day. Are you going, when you make these decisions in a week, in a day, in a month, in a year, are you going to look back on that decision and be really glad that you made the decision that you made? Or are you going to be really upset with yourself and say, oh, I wish I did something else? Self-discipline is in that moment choosing the thing that you're going to get to look back on and say, thank you for doing that. So with my back, I have not stopped trying to find a good physical therapist. I finally found one. I am in less physical pain than I have been in the last 10, 12 years since I originally, 13 years, I was 18. In 13 years, that's freaking crazy to say, holy shit. I'm doing the work. And now I'm so close to being pain-free. So like, thank you, past Bianca, for not giving up on that.
I'm right.
I'm in a weird phase right now where, and I say weird because of what I'm about to say. So as you guys can see, I have tattoos all over me, right? I'm so upset with past Bianca. That's a decision that I look back and I'm like, dude, like, why? Why did you have to do that? And the reason I say it's weird is because this version of me understands that version of me and understands why she had to do it. Right? But that version of me never knew I would become this version of me, and this version of me is like, this is not who I want to be. I've been wrestling with myself about only wanting to wear long sleeves until I can get all of these tattoos removed. Because it is so outside of alignment for me having these trashy tattoos all over my skin and feeling so outside of alignment with how I see myself now and the woman that I want to be. And knowing that there's these tattoos all over my body. So like now me is looking back at past me being like, I'm so upset with you and I understand why you had to do it. You needed your autonomy, you needed your independence, you needed to prove a point. I get it. But now I'm like, God damn it. So now I'm paying the price for that. Future me is going to look back on current me and thank me so much for making the financial decisions that I am making right now. Right now, me is looking back at past me being like, if I can go back and slap the shit out of you, I 10 out of 10 would, with as much love and self-compassion as I can express. Why? Because right now, me is having to pay for the decisions that past me made. And future me is going to be a very, 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 very well-developed, holistically wealthy woman because of the decisions that right now me are making. And that is like, that's why I'm as self-disciplined as I am. And I'm not even close to where I need to be and where I want to be. So like better than I've ever been. And when you zoom out, it's like not even close to where I need to be. And I think that's a beautiful place to be. Some people might feel overwhelmed by that. That excites me because it's like, oh my God, I still have so far to go. That's so cool. But I didn't start here. I didn't start here. And that's what I want to have everybody end on. Start where you are. Just start where you are. Maybe self-discipline is going to be making your bed every single day because you feel really good getting into a made bed. Maybe it's putting your water in the fridge before you go to sleep and have it filled. That way you can wake up in the morning to cold water that's already filled. Maybe it's, setting your toothbrush up in the morning so that when you, at the end of the night, it's already set up so you can brush your teeth. It doesn't have to be these massive leaps and bounds. Start where you are. Be the butler to your future, the steward to your future self. And you slowly and gradually build that over time progressively.
Beautiful. One of my favorite ones is after you get up from the couch is resetting the couch, I call it, which is very similar to getting back into a freshly made bed. But whenever you sit on the couch, like I just love the aesthetics of a tidy couch, right? The pillows are back where they are with the Tudo chop. There's something about that. Just chop the pillows, right? And then the blankets folded, everything's where it needs to be. I call it put things back in their homes, right? Don't leave things astray. Don't be a stray cat with your things. Anywho, for anyone that loved that and wanted to keep up and or get context for what Bianca was just saying about the time whiplash that she just gave us in the best freaking way, and I'm so proud of you for that. We have an episode 446, The Psychology of Body Art and Piercings, what your body art really says about you. And if you want to really see Bianca for like what she just said and how deep that is, like go ahead and listen to that. You'll see her in a whole new light, in the best light, because truly she's come so far and she's literally graveling with that weird space that as evolvers, you all get to at one point or another. And it's different perspective. It's the most beautiful thing. I'm so proud of you because you could always, have the same perspective. And I think that that's the most terrifying place to be.
Yeah.
So to that end, the last episode suggestion that I would give is 458, how to connect to your true self so that you actually can start to make decisions in accordance with what we're saying in here, which is increasing that discipline muscle for you from you, and or creating self-discipline and the conditions that are necessary for you to feel the benefits of that and to exercise, of course, those brain muscles. So as always, thank you for your interest in the science of holistic mental health. We have a blast in these episodes. Bianca, thank you for being here as always. And as always, keep evolving, everyone.
Bye, everybody.